So professionalism is competence or skill expected of an individual. What are the expectations of being a professional in strength and conditioning? I think that changes from place to place, right, as the variables and the athletes and the administration, the support does. But what makes you separate yourself as a professional? When I look at the expectations, we have social responsibility. Do I look the part? Do I play the part? Do I act the part? Competence. Do I know what I'm talking about? Compassion. I think one of the biggest strengths that I have too is empathy. I have like secondary embarrassment gene and I can't get rid of it. It's like I feel people's embarrassment all the time. So then or they might not even be embarrassed, but I'm like, well, come on, let's do something together, So I think empathy really helps me as a strength and conditioning coach. Honesty, it's tough being honest with athletes, especially when they're really committed to what you're doing. So I think honesty is a great thing, and the list goes on. So what separates you as a professional? So I've been in those positions where I get angry when people, they come in and they're like looking for the guy that's in charge. They walk right by me. And here I'm like, I've been in this for 20 years, man, and they still keep walking by me. But again, President Obama's been in that situation, so I think anybody can be in that situation. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. But what I like to do is create ease. Okay, so make people feel welcome. You never know what somebody else is thinking, so why not ask them, right? So create ease, be confident in who you are. Once you figure out who you are, there's this huge confidence that you can walk around with that makes you feel comfortable. Be polite, right? Introduce yourself. Be respectful. Smile goes a long way. I have an assistant, Luke, that doesn't smile at all. I'm like, Luke, man, hey, listen, just do it a little bit for me. And he's like, that's not who I am. And I'm like, okay, I respect that, but it could help you. Can you lie? Can you operate outside the rules? Bend the rules a little bit? Make eye contact. Be authentic. If you figure out who you are, that's pretty easy. And then always listen. I think listening is a great skill that a lot of people tend not to look at. So again, I think with what I teach and what I coach, I think that my life is about relationships and connections. It's not about sports. Sports is what we do, but it's not who I am, okay? Eliminate the question of who is this person, introduce yourself. It's not about what you do. This is a great one. It's not what you do, it's who you are, and who you are is based on your core values. Okay, so I think this stuff is all wrapping into one another. You gotta figure out who you are first. Make other people comfortable. People are comfortable when you are comfortable with you. If you're not comfortable being who you are, it's hard to create comfort in any situation. So being comfortable with yourself is really important. If you're good at what you do, there are no restrictions. Again, I've been told no, I've failed, but I think I'm a pretty good teacher. I might not be a great technician, but I'm a pretty good teacher and I'm a results-based person, so we get the outcome, right? And then, you know what, once you figure out who you are, then you lose the need for approval from others. It's gone. It's off your back. That monkey is gone. Listen, always engage. I think leaning in is a really good thing when people are talking. Making them feel important and what they have to say is important. Try to understand what they're saying and be judgment-free. I think being judgment-free is a huge help, especially with our athletes who don't know who they are at all. So how do you present yourself? Always be available. I know that there are times when I've heard coaches go, yeah, I don't know if I can make that time. Well, if you want to be a part of the organization of the team, you need to make that time because the assistant's not going to say that. The assistant does whatever the head coach does. An assistant always answers the head coach's call. Why can't we? Now I know there's a time to shut it down and whatnot, but man, my phone's going off all the time just because people want to talk. We appear presentable and professional. Again, I apologize for my attire today as a speaker. Be aware that you're always communicating. You cannot not communicate. This says a lot to me, right? You cannot not communicate. How you look at somebody, how you smile or don't smile. So we're always receiving information. Like I said, I try to get my coaches to sell our program, do fly by the offices, say hi, even if it's just 20 seconds. You know, people are saying, yeah, who do you come by, but you don't stay. Well, you know what? I've had people come by my office and they stay. So I'm just respecting you. You know, if you want me to stay, ask me. But I don't want to stay and, you know, get involved in your time. So I covered this. Control the room. Always control the room. Don't ever give up control of your weight room. So everyone is vulnerable. President Obama, he's vulnerable. So as a woman, right off the bat, I said, boom, you know, people look at me, I'm a woman, oh, she needs help. You know what? No, I don't need help. But that's cool, because I'll use it to my advantage. So as a woman, I'm perceived as vulnerable, and that can be a huge positive. As is, I think, a male strength coach coming up to me and saying, hey, can you help me with something? That's cool. You know, I think if you can be comfortable being vulnerable, which we all are, right, it's a huge positive. This is from Brene Brown. You cannot get to courage without passing through vulnerability. So are you willing to fail at anything? A task, meeting somebody. For me, it was public speaking. So this is my favorite slide out of this whole thing, is know your role, because sometimes I try to get out of my lane and I help too many people, right? So choose moments wisely to either talk or to act on something. After a game, after a women's game, I was leaving the parking garage and the gate was down, right? And I had gotten my wrist slapped so many times because I was outside of my lane that I'm like, well, I have my sticker. I can just wave it and go through, which I did, because not even 2 minutes later, I heard that a lot of people were really upset, and thank gosh I wasn't there, because I would have been a part of that, and it would probably have been my fault that the gate was down. So know your role, stay in your lane. I've learned a lot from failure. These are great. I hand these insurance cards out. It says, stay in your lane, know your role. It's your insurance card. I hand them out. Then there's changing lanes. If you're going to change lanes, get out, right? And then keep calm and stay in your lane.